one's the best crypto asset? Bitcoin's the best crypto asset. Which one's the best crypto asset? Bitcoin's the best crypto asset. Which one's the best? 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 What's the second best?
This is Discover Crypto. Every day on the channel, we teach you how to make money with digital assets. Very special show today. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. We got to talk about Bitcoin's recent dumping. What is going on with that? We got to talk about the jobs report and Justin Sun versus Donald Trump. The battle has begun. And are we going to see a $4 Dogecoin? I'm joined here with TJ. Everybody, again, smash those likes for TJ. TJ, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Enjoying the volatility. I was saying yesterday with you guys in the chat, never a dull day in crypto with the World Liberty Fi, Justin Sun drama. Now we've got crazy job reports coming out. Market pumps in the morning, pulls back immediately. Rate cuts, increasing odds going up and down. So it's all sorts of fun stuff. Never boring to be in crypto, never boring to be in this markets, and starting to really love what we do. Blessed to be here. Happy that we get to get up and do this every day. So shout out to all of you guys in the chat. I love all of you. Hit the like button and let's get into it.
Yeah, hit that like button. It is Friday. Hit the like button for the weekend, everybody. But hit the like button so you can maybe pump up Bitcoin. Let's blow a little life into this thing. You see Bitcoin on the 5-minute chart just immediately dumping this morning. Looks like we have a very, very short time period here. In about 45 minutes, we've lost $2,500 on the Bitcoin price. But when you zoom out, you can see we might be coming down and testing this trend line. This is the 1-hour chart. We're going to talk about this parallel channel that I've identified a little bit later on when we talk about Bitcoin price action. But this might be a very volatile weekend, folks. I would buckle up. And if you hold World Liberty Fi, it's looking pretty good from the bounce yesterday. But as of now, we are still creating higher lows and slightly higher highs on this 1-hour chart. So we're going to be watching World Liberty Fi. And if you look at the rest of the markets, probably erase a lot of the gains that we have seen. Bitcoin was up, 2.5% about 30 minutes ago. And now is down to just, you can see the 2% decline right there. It's now up 0.9%, but ETH is down, XRP is down, Solana is down, Tron is down. And it looks like the only bright spots here are Dogecoin and Cardano. Shout out to Cardano. And you even have Chainlink with the 3% decline here. TJ, I feel like opening some longs.
Yeah, I know Drew crushed it from his yesterday. He was closing those this morning on that huge pump, so he probably went back in again. I know the Discord. I'm literally watching the Discord trading chat going back and forth right now. If you guys haven't got in there yet, the link is in the description. A lot of really good information in there, but yeah, I mean, I think what's this sitting at now? What's the level?
Bitcoin right now, 110,900, so yeah, a hair below 111.
That feels pretty good. I mean, there is
a long streak of red candles.
Yeah, we do have this coming out today. 4 p.m. President makes an announcement. 4 p.m. on a Friday after markets close. That generally doesn't mean he's going to say something good. So it's going to be, he probably had a idea that these jobs numbers were going to be as bad as they were, so he's probably going to come out and talk about that. I don't know, or maybe he talks about India or something. I don't know, we'll see. But generally speaking, 4 p.m. after markets close on Friday, it doesn't mean he's going to say something positive. So.
All right, you talked me out of opening along. At least for now, I'm going to see if we keep dumping. If we get some bullish divergences on some 1-hour charts, I'm probably going to scale in. But Aave is one of the biggest losers today, followed by Athena. After that, we have Chainlink. I can zoom in a little. We have BitGet token, KuCoin all down pretty significantly here. And Memecore, I was looking into this one, TJ. A little suspicious. It can keep pumping, but I almost want to do a little aside here, but maybe if we have a little time, I'll do it towards the end of the show. And World Liberty Fi, despite the recent dump here, is one of the biggest gainers for the past 24 hours as well. So we're seeing a little bit of a mixed messaging on that token.
They dumped all day yesterday and then, got a little bit of a relief. And was it at 8? Does that say 16 or 18?
18.3, yeah.
18. All right, that's not that bad. I mean, we'll see. It'll be really interesting to see. Eric Trump also has an announcement today, so we'll see. It'll be interesting to see what he says.
Yeah, and Eric Trump might be talking about Dogecoin. Everybody, I'm gonna admit it. I bought a very small amount. I bought a little Dogecoin. I had sold some Marathon, and, just kind of scaling around. Basically, I had cash on the sidelines and my Robinhood account and wanted to scale in and just feel something. So sometimes you got to move around. But I'll tell you what's moving around is unemployment numbers. Unemployment numbers came in. You can see the jobs report on our thumb here. U.S. economy added 22,000 jobs in August, below expectations, 75K. Unemployment rose to 4.3%. And this is the second lowest jobs report number since July 2021. But it gets worse, folks. It gets a lot worse once you start pouring over to the details. You can see right here, it gets worse. All job gains were part-time. Full-time lost 350,000 jobs, TJ. Part-time rose 600K. Now, what do you think what do you think the part-time job surge is? Is this Uber drivers, food delivery? What's your guess?
It's probably some portion of those people that were full-time looking to get whatever they can to keep money coming in. And it's probably, my guess is it's a lot of second and third jobs for people to try to subsidize.
That is true.
Yeah, what they're already making. So it's a lot worse out there than I think people want to believe that it is, and the markets want to believe that it is. That a lot of the things I saw that said basically every part of this jobs report was bad. Every, the more you dig into it, the more bad stuff you see. A lot of stuff looking a lot like 2008. And so to me, I do think we're going to get a hoorah here in Q4, some rate cuts, some rally, that sort of stuff. But a lot of these signals, when I've been saying a lot about, I'm trying to decide what I'm going to do with my overall portfolio in Q4. There's a lot of stuff we're going to cover today that, to me, at least backs up that the cycle this time isn't different. The 4-year cycle is going to remain intact, and we could see a pretty steep pullback in 2026. I'm not ready to 100% lock that in yet, but a lot of the stuff I looked at today was like, man, this economy it's on shake.
Oh yeah, we got some shocking Google trends to share. Let's dive into the jobs reports. And real quick, on the note of part-time, a lot of this is people getting their second part-time job or have a full-time and then get an additional part-time job. And so the same, you see in 500, 600,000 part-time jobs. This might not be people that went from unemployed to part-time employed. This is people just working harder and harder. Now, we just only added 22K, as I was saying earlier. Very, very low numbers. Unemployment, like we said, 4.3. Our earnings here, the average earnings rose 0.3% for the month, 3.7% year over year. Everybody knows the cost of living, electricity, food, you name it, cars, houses, 3.7% increase year over year is not going to be enough. Now, people are talking about the basis cuts here. Can we see 50 basis points instead of 25 in September? Well, we go straight to Polymarket here. You can see on September 17th, a mere 12 days away, it did spike for a little bit, TJ. You can see the blue line, light blue, is going to be 50 basis points, is now up to 12% at one point. It has retraced a little to 11%. But, I mean, if you add this up, it's 99%. 87 point something and 10 point something here. But now Polymarket, now matching CME. CME is about 99% cut odds. Now we're here, 98% odds that we're going to get a cut.
Yeah. No, it's definitely with the numbers today, you can't deny a cut. I mean, it's interesting to see 50 basis rising. I saw 4 different people within 20 minutes of being on X this morning calling for 50 basis points cut. One of them, Crypto Sherpa, is in the chat a lot here. Commented on one of our posts, said, you heard it here first, 50 basis point cut in the next meeting. That would shock the market, and that would really start a rally. I think it's basically pricing in a 25 basis point cut right now. But if we saw a 50 basis point cut, that might really, really shock the market.
We got a little blip for September, but check out the jobs report effect on October. Major change here. That was in the 40s for a 25% decrease, and then jumped up to almost, the mid 60s there.
Yeah. No, I don't think they're going to do it. I'm just saying if they do, the market has not priced that in whatsoever, and it would just be instant green candles. So I still very bullish for Q4. Still believe rate cuts will send us back into a more risk-on environment. I do think people are I saw somebody in the chat say earlier, new Fed chair and money printer on in 2026. I do believe that is the plan. Again, you just got to watch
up into the midterms, essentially.
Yeah, pump into the midterms. Yeah. And then maybe we come back down towards reality. The bottom line is, though, the reality is that the economy isn't doing that well. There's the winners are winning big, and the losers are still losing, and the middle is getting smaller. I think that trend just continues and continues and continues. You've heard us talk about it on this channel a lot. the way that they pump assets up, the way that they kind of keep us in this everything bubble is good for asset holders, is horrible if you don't hold any assets, and it's really hard to it's getting harder and harder to make that jump. Housing is one that gets talked about a lot, and housing is tied up in all of this stuff. So I don't see that getting any easier either. I think they're going to do some kind of government programs to stimulate some stuff, some political posturing to get midterms and elected and all that sort of stuff. But 5 years from now, 10 years from now, I think it's going to be almost impossible for the lower class to get into home ownership, which has been what the World Economic Forum's been telling us they were going to do for 10, 15 years. So,
and now when it comes to these jobs reports, we rely on a specific government bureau. It's called the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the BLS. BLS is the one that's given us all this information, all this data. TJ, let's check in on the BLS. Oh, no. Technical difficulties 30 minutes before the highly anticipated jobs report. Seems legit, according to Discover Crypto. Make sure you're following us here on Discover Crypto. Data tools not available. You look here. So this is according to Eleanor Terrett. According to the new IG report, nearly, and then it gets worse with Gary Gensler. Did you see the Gensler?
Oh, yeah. I definitely saw it. I mean, that was...
Oh, Gensler.
So you guys have heard me talk about this theory that the last bear market, the 2022 bear market that took out some of the basically biggest and most powerful people in this space, Barry Silver, Digital Currency Group, SBF, a lot of big players, even CZ got caught up in it in a lot of different ways, got taken out or at least got put in their seat for the rest of this industry. Jesse Powell had to step down. A lot of big players got shuffled around in 2022, right when Gary Gensler was being all buddy-buddy with SBF, right when all sorts of other stuff was going on. Operation Choke Point 2.0, they were taking down Silvergate Bank. They were taking down Silicon Valley Bank. Like, a lot of big stuff happened in 2022. And shockingly, all of Gary Gensler's text messages are gone from that.
Yeah, this is from a friend of the channel here, Eleanor Terrett. According to the SEC, a year's worth of text messages from Gensler were permanently lost due to avoidable technology failures by the Office of Information Technology. This is going to be between October 22 and September 23. We go here. I love this. Think about everything that happened in crypto during that time. The TJ's effect there, FTX collapse through Grayscale Spot, BTC, FTF lawsuit really makes you think. Now, this article... We got the reasons why. We talk about the IT department. So they said the IT department erroneously wiped the text, erasing records tied to the enforcement actions and transparency. Now, they said it was the SEC, specifically IT department, had a poorly understood and automated policy that caused enterprise wipe of his government-issued mobile device, deleted the text messages and the operating system logs. Now, they failed to collect or maintain the log data, which is why they could not determine why his smartphone stopped communicating with the government servers. Now, they found that some of these deleted texts involved enforcement actions against crypto companies and their founders, meaning the key communications about how and when they pursue these cases may never be fully known. Did you see how they got some of these text messages back, TJ?
No, I didn't.
They went to the people he texted and then looked at the receive from Gary Gensler.
Yeah.
They're able to back engineer some of this stuff now. Now, like I said, the loss of his text messages may impact their response to certain Freedom of Information Act requests. So we'll never know ultimately. Now, there's a couple reasons why they're saying this. I love Caitlin Long. This could be a potential reason, folks. So his text messages from his tenure at SEC chairman forever lost in the boating accident. It might have been a boating accident, TJ. Now, Did you see Gary's response?
No, I didn't.
He said he slipped on a banana peel, fell with his phone out, and then hit the delete button. He even uploaded a photo, man. He was like, I didn't know, guys. He didn't know. You can't blame him, TJ.
No, that dang technology department, man.
That
they
stupid
just
banana.
Keep deleting stuff,
He got hit with the Donkey Kong there, man. All right, well, it gets worse, folks. We got jobs reports. We got BLS websites going down. We got Gary Gensler deleting his text messages. What the heck is going on? Oh, wait, it gets better. We also just had a record auction for our debt, for our treasury bills here. This is the largest short-term auction in history. Quietest move towards yield curve control we've ever seen. Essentially, the reverse repos running out of money. We are rolling over all our long-term debt into short-term debt. The reason why Trump wants interest rates lower. So if we do long-term debt, we got to pay that high interest rate for a long time. If we do short-term debt, keep kicking the can down the road until we get those lower rates that Trump wants. Then we start rolling over into the larger debt. But we're running out of buyers for these short-term treasuries. We're seeing this reverse repo. So we're going to have to do some free money for the banks. This is all going to equal very, very bullish for your altcoins. And it gets worse when you look at the bond market drawdown. We talked about this when it happened a couple weeks ago. Gold as a percentage of foreign reserves, passing treasuries as a percentage of foreign reserves. But what I missed from that, 61 months of bond market drawdown. Very, very bearish. Other countries are betting on our inability to pay our debt 30 years from now and beyond.
Well, and not just us, it's all governments. All bonds are going down. People are losing faith in fiat, the fiat system, basically is bottom line, which is why this channel exists, why Bitcoin exists, why we come here and talk about this every day. All governments, not just the US government, are having a very hard time selling government bonds, which is basically saying government debt. That's part of why the Treasury, we're buying our own debt, and so like when you think about that, it's like, wait a minute, we're in debt, unsustainable deficit debt that we're never going to pay back. So we're buying it.
Yeah, we have a credit card that gets maxed. So we open another credit card and then another and another. I mean, we got a long string of credit cards at this point.
Exactly. And so that's what's been happening all around the world with all sorts of different governments. And the markets are finally waking up and saying, you know what, we're going to get into commodities. We smell a change coming, and we're going to prepare with things with actual value, things like gold, silver, Bitcoin, and that's why we're seeing commodities just absolutely rip. I do want to hit the super chat real quick from Will. Ordered Arculus with code DC20. Now I can use those savings to fuel my unhealthy relationship with McDonald's, hash browns, and apple pies. Well, congratulations on the Arculus. Glad you're doing that. It's taking a step towards responsibility and self-sovereignty is always a good idea. You can be healthy too. You could take a step.
I haven't had McDonald's in about 14 years, except for maybe 5 French fries total over the decade and a half there.
That's healthy. I can't say too much because I had McDonald's this morning. So when I'm in a pinch and don't have breakfast, I do stop at McDonald's. So
hey, people love it. People love it. All right, now it gets worse.
I feel like I'm eating like I took a bite of something yesterday. I'm like, this is probably like Bill Gates mystery meat stuff. And like I really don't want to eat it, but
it might be Bill Gates approved. Shout out to Steak and Shake, Bitcoin company, and they use that beef tallow. All right, now we're talking about all these bad things. Well, what about on the consumer side? It also gets terrible. If you look at Google Trends, bankruptcy lawyer spiking. Guys, is this good? Now, this is going way back. This is 2004. This is not like zoomed into 12 months here. 2004 basically present.
That's the beginning of Google Trends as far as I know. Yeah.
So very alarming when you look at that. Can it go? Can you take me higher? But it gets worse, folks. Let's look at just 4 more. Missed car payments. That's not what we want to see, TJ. Well, what else do we have? Interest over time. Late mortgage payment. Not late mortgage payment. So late car payment, late mortgage payment. I have no money.
That one made me laugh.
Googling this. I have no money.
More people are Googling that than ever before. Is there any more? What's that one?
Last one, missed payment.
Yeah. I saw another one that was like that. Straight up spike, sell house fast is another one like that. That's fast. Just straight up, so that, and these are all-time highs on Google searches ever. So these are signs of economy that is on the brink. This is not a flourishing economy, despite what they try to tell you on the news, despite what they want you to believe in the markets. They're trying to pull people in to buy the top. There's a reason Robinhood exists and retail's getting brought in at a higher level than ever before. And they're an unsophisticated investor, and the unsophisticated investors are the ones that are buying all that gold and that are preparing. They're getting out of T-bills, they're getting out of bonds, and they're getting ready for a shift. Now, the question is, when exactly does that happen? This is why I love Bitcoin. This is why we use Bitcoin all the time, because it does allow you to both have exponential upside in the market and have a hedge in the market. That's what's so beautiful about Bitcoin. You're hedging because you're already in the system that everybody's shifting over to. That's why I'm so bullish on it. That's why people ask me, like, why don't you sell back to dollars? And it's like, well, because that's a broken system. You can never really take money off the table. That's one thing I like that Michael Saylor says when they say, oh, don't you want to take money off the table? And it's very frustrating. It's like there is no off the table. You're either changing, you're holding something. You're either holding dollars, or you're holding gold, you're holding Bitcoin, you're holding land. but you're holding something. You're not just taking money off the table. And so that's why I love Bitcoin, because if I'm going to be in one thing, it's going to give me at least self-control, self-sovereignty, control over it. It's going to give me a set supply. It's a commodity. It's got actual portability and exchangeability. There's a lot of factors that make Bitcoin the best thing for the environment that we're in right now. Far and away, gold's good too. Gold, but it does. There's a lot of limitations on gold compared to Bitcoin, and it doesn't give you that same exponential upside. So that's why all roads lead back to Bitcoin, in my opinion.
Speaking of Bitcoin, this is a good segue. Just check back in on that chart, zooming in on the 1 minute. Dumping is dumping. We did just get our first bull div on the 1 minute. I would not be interested in jumping in this one until you saw maybe bull divs on the 5 minute with some tight stop losses. It's going to be a lot better if you're trading Bitcoin looking at bull divs on the 1 hour. 1 minute, very, very risky. You might as well be using the 30-second chart at that point. But Bitcoin's still trying to find a bottom. We'll continue to monitor this. I did check in on the liquidation heat map. TJ found something very interesting.
Oh, nice.
He just swept a nice level on Binance. Now, this is just Binance. You can go to different exchanges, see different liquidation levels. Still got a little bit lower to sweep some on Gate. If we go to Bybit right here, you're going to see swept through most of the people opening longs on Bitcoin. Little bit of liquidity cluster. I say little bit, just a casual $40 million to be wiped out here. Another 15, another 30 million right there. So some key levels to pay attention to for sure there. And Hyperliquid is just going to be so far apart. We still have a ways to go there. 108, which is pretty much where we went to, over the past few days there. But speaking of Bitcoin, is all this bearish action, is this just to trap people on betting against Bitcoin? So then it could go on the Gigasyn. Then it could go on the mega rally here.
Probably.
So it's due for the next major short squeeze within weeks as the market makers are trying to lay the ultimate bear trap. Now, scrolling down, it shows some of these levels I was looking at there. Then it goes into the charts. And I'm just going to go straight to the post. They reference this guy right here. It's Luca Cryptic Trades here. Let me see how many followers. About 40,000 followers. Remember my thesis from early April around liquidity traps and the untapped lows that are forming. He says the market makers setting up something similar. Zooming in on this chart, you can see did not sweep the highs. Did not sweep the highs. Failed to sweep. Fail. We keep failing. And so people are seeing, all right, we test a new high. I could just open an easy short, setting up for everybody to start shorting Bitcoin. And then that's when they're going to get wrecked. One of the main reasons he goes into MVR, he talks about trend lines here. But I would largely agree. It does look like we're maybe setting up something pretty major. Now, I do want to show you the retesting. I said we're going to look at this parallel channel. Let's go to the 4 hours. You can see it kind of more easily there. Then we'll go to the daily. Bitcoin's been in this parallel channel since the 10th of August. TJ, we're already at September 5. So we're almost at a month. We've been stuck inside this parallel channel. Then we bounced off that giga support, all the confluence around these lines here. Then came back, retested the support, TJ. I would not be surprised if this is going to equal a second retest. Let's just say it happens, maybe not this 4 hour candle, but the next 4 hour candle. You're looking at a back to 108, 600. If you look at the daily, it looks a little bit cleaner. So I would definitely say be prepared for the retest on this parallel channel.
Yeah, I like that. That makes a lot. So go zoom back in on that a little bit. I guess I need to make my screen bigger. But no, like I like it on the daily. But what the top of the channel is that 108 number, and then if it does go back to the white line, what's that number? I'm just curious. Yeah, if it gets right there,
keeps declining at this point. 107, 300. Yeah.
So it'd be interesting to see if it bounces off that a couple times and hits both the top of the channel and that support line.
Oh, so you're saying like kind of stuck in a ding, 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 ding.
No, so on top of the channel.
Oh, okay.
So it bounces off it 2 or 3 times and then comes down and hits that white line. Sometime next week we're in the 107s. Everybody's freaking out saying it's about to, something like that. And then rate cuts. Yep, exactly. That's what
September 17th is going to be right here. So this is going to be the 17th. So maybe it moves to about like right here. Yeah, I could definitely see that scenario
in a little bit. Yeah,
it probably would be front ran.
But sure. That's BlackRock. I could see that be very, very likely for the next the short term play out.
Yeah, I like that. I like that prediction there. Also, there's the 50-week moving average. Everybody's been paying attention to that 50-week moving average. We've been looking at it as well. But we also have a rare Binance bottom signal. That's going to be tether ratio, stablecoin ratio here. So the Binance Bitcoin stablecoin ratio hits a parity of 1, very rare market signal. This is approaching the rare threshold that historically coincides with the market bottoms. It tracks the balance of Bitcoin reserves against stablecoin reserves, specifically on Binance. Now, this level that we're seeing now, last observed in March, that was when Bitcoin pulled all the way back to 78K before it would later rally to a new all-time high. You can see when the ratios are hitting. So that was definitely a local bottom, but we found a slightly lower bottom and then found another local bottom and then just went on a whole gigascent, formed that little bit of a retracement there. This was, fairly significant decline. That's when we came back down to the 50-week moving average shortly after. Another short signal popped a little bit later. We're now hitting it again. It's only appeared twice since the last bear market, raising interest in a potential buy signal there. And of course, we got to talk about the 50-week moving average. I just want to pull it up very briefly here. Let's go to this line right here. Boom. That's another pay. I mean, that's just another bounce signal. And we can go a lot lower, folks. We can go all the way down to here. So bull market not over just because you see some red candles. Calm down, zoom out. Everything's going to be all right here, especially when you look at what Asia's doing. Asia's copying the MicroStrategy playbook. They have a firm that's buying $1 billion in Bitcoin, and this is to strengthen Asia's network of Bitcoin treasury firms. So the thesis remains the same. Your money is broken. Bitcoin is finite. Smart money knows this, and they're repositioning. What are you doing with your strategy? All we're doing is just trying to give you that life-changing wealth, folks. That's all we're wanting to do here. But now, are you ready to talk a little world liberty-fi, TJ?
Yeah, the drama keeps going. But yeah, let's do it.
The Justin Sun drama here.
Yeah, he has a great way of keeping his name in the center of the attention, whether he means to or not. Interesting marketing techniques.
All right. Well, if you don't know, we're going to kind of go over the just the brief outline of what happened, Justin Sun's response, what the heck is going to happen to World Liberty Fi next? That's going to be the $1 million question. So here's what happened. So the launch day, community is the community wallet, I guess, supposed to be 5%, really went 4%. Not everybody used the lockbox, the claiming mechanism there. But you go to Justin Sun. Remember, we reported on this. He had 3% of the total supply, but only 20% of his stash was unlocked. The rest was locked on a 12-month, what they call a vesting schedule. He's going to get some every month for a year until he got 100% of his tokens. Publicly said, "Oh, I'm not selling, folks. I'm not selling." But exchanges maybe did dump some World Liberty Fi here. Justin Sun allegedly funneled World Liberty Fi through his exchange, HTX. Here's where it gets a little funny, TJ. He offered users 20% APY to deposit and lock it up. That's the important part. This let him dump his entire stack while making it look like user deposits were being staked. The fallout, he got caught. Reports say he used user deposits to dump his personal tokens that were still locked for a while. So when his tokens unlock, that's when he would pay that 20% APY to the people who locked on his exchange. His address was then later frozen. So he really lured in World Liberty Fi from his users with that 20% APY to lock them in, then get them to sell, and then he would then sell those tokens to get out of his own position while they're still unvested. If that did happen, they're saying he does deserve to get his account frozen, especially 2 days ago, he said he wouldn't sell any tokens. Now, TJ, let's answer this question first before we move on. Does he deserve? I don't like that word typically.
Yeah.
It's a word for dumb people and children. But does we'll just play along for now. Does he deserve to get his account frozen?
That's a tough one for me too. I'm a big believer in free markets, and so I would argue nobody deserves to get their stuff frozen. Did he violate the agreement? Yes, he did. And are they allowed to take actions within their power based on that? Yes, they are. And so I think that's more my answer would be, I don't know if he deserves it or not, but the market is going to correct it. And when you violate an agreement, people usually respond, and I think that's what's going to happen. Yeah,
I did see some deposits on Binance from deposit addresses linked to Justin Sun, and they do say it was happening here. Now, this is Justin Sun's comment. He said his tokens unreasonably frozen. Calls on the team to unlock my tokens. Said that early investors deserve equal rights and that token freezing violates legitimate rights of investors here. But this is a good take too. The blackmail here, though, for Justin, he will not do anything because he doesn't want Tron to be listed from American exchanges. It's a filthy game. He cannot win. I think it's who has more leverage, World Liberty Fi team, or Justin Sun. In America specifically, it's definitely not Justin Sun.
No, World Liberty Fi definitely has the leverage in this situation. They'll have to work together and come out on a joint statement or some sort of kind, because they don't want Tron getting smashed for it. I do believe this is what he did. He's done stuff like this with Huobi. Huobi and HTX has had a lot of suspect activity on chain in the past, a lot. So I'm not surprised at all. This is kind of par for the course for the type of trading Justin Sun likes to do. And it's gonna be fun to watch how this one plays out. It's more interesting when it's Justin Sun and Eric Trump than no influencer number 1 and no influencer number 2.
I think we throw Justin and Barron in the octagon, right? And then have Dana White be the ref.
I'm taking Barron on that one.
It is brought to you by VeChain. All right, let's a couple extra details. Why not, right? I mean, nothing. This whole thing is just a freaking fake play, is what it looks like. It's like, are we on a reality TV show? Oh wait, that. I guess that makes sense, right? That does make sense. All right, now a couple extra details. Nansen and Arkham did flag the address for a $9 million transfer. A lot of this does look like $9 million would later go to Binance. Now, he was among the first investors for the World Liberty Fi presale. He got in at 1.5 pennies. But now this is a statement from Justin Sun's camp. Justin and the World Liberty Fi team are in active communication about this matter. So it might be resolved today, TJ.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's going to be resolved, though.
They'll get it resolved. I think I'll be interested to see Eric. Like I said, Eric Trump has an announcement today, which I need to go find it. I had a pretty funny comment on it because he posted an image of like a major announcement, World Liberty Fi major announcement tomorrow or something like that. And then I said, "Did you learn the announcement from Justin Sun?" And people, because that, if you guys weren't around in 2017, Justin Sun and Tron was kind of the major. He was the guy that constantly the announcement of the announcement and building the hype and keeping people on and he got known for being the guy that makes announcements of announcements and kind of popularized that within crypto. So,
all right. Corey Andrews says that he normally watches 1.75x, and today it sounds like we're drunk talking. I have experienced that with, what is it? Scott Adams. I do 1.5x. Then when you listen to him, you're like, whoa, what is going on there? So I tell you what, we'll take some Adderall before we start a stream, and then we'll be on point. And then everything will sound the same. No, maybe I won't have good judgment. Now, someone did point this out on Justin Sun's statement before we move on. They're saying, oh, telltale signs, TJ. You know what that's a sign of?
ChatGPT.
Yeah. They're like, wow, you literally had to use ChatGPT to write your apology. But you're like a bright guy. But, like, English isn't his first language, so we'll give him a pass on this one.
Yeah, that's fair enough. He does speak pretty good. He writes pretty good in English, too. Another thing to keep in mind, this is just if you want, I don't know if you guys are out there doing a lot of DeFi and you like to be paranoid at night like me and worry about your coins.
Are you checking your blinds? How paranoid are we talking about?
Well, I was
like
about
the old era of the channel paranoid?
No, not that paranoid.
Oh, okay.
Wrapped Bitcoin, WBTC, right? If you're using DeFi, you're probably using wrapped Bitcoin. That means you've given your Bitcoin to let it be custodied by somebody else. Justin Sun is the one behind wrapped Bitcoin. There's a lot of allegations about paper Bitcoin floating around, more Bitcoin floating around than there should be, yada, yada, yada. Not saying that's the case. I don't have any real evidence of it, but part of me is always paranoid when I hold wrapped Bitcoin. I hold some wrapped Bitcoin, some CB Bitcoin, some regular Bitcoin. Probably rather have it all in regular Bitcoin or maybe CB Bitcoin. But just another thing to keep in mind, guys, if you're ever worried about suspect stuff, keep your eye on wrapped Bitcoin as well. I have a feeling whether it's a treasury company or a wrapping protocol or something like that could potentially be what causes another bear market, a collapse of some type of Bitcoin wrapping vehicle, but we'll see.
Bitcoin wrapping vehicle. Shout out to Cassius Cuvée. Rolls around in an Acura Legend, like late 90s. It's tinted, man. It's dropped. It's got a good system. I bet he did have that car. I don't know. Maybe I'm stereotyping. All right, now checking in on Bitcoin here. It's still dumping. We are still, slightly printing some bullish divergences on the 1 minute. Remember, I was saying I wouldn't even be interested in maybe 5 minute. Really, you should wait for the 1 hour bull divs there. 5 minutes, still no bull divs. We are seeing RSI slightly turn around. What about the 3 minute? Yeah, we're getting it on the 3 minute, so maybe you can expect it on the 5 minute fairly soon. I do think they're going to do another little scam pump, come back down just to teach everybody a lesson that, hey, you are a little too bullish here. So let's see. It's going to go like this. It's going to do a higher low, and then it's going to do a lower low. And then no one knows for sure, but that's my prediction. And we're going to check back on this at 11:23. It's 11:06. So we'll check back in about 17 minutes, everybody. We'll see if DZ Stramus strikes again. People in the member streams have seen some pretty wild predictions. Do I make moves on this? No, because it's like such small moves there. But TJ, do you remember when we were talking about the Swift CIO, chief
investment
officer, CTO? Yeah,
no,
chief innovation officer.
Oh, innovation. Yeah, yes, it was yesterday or the day before. Yeah.
Yeah, and he was kind of dunking on XRP, you remember?
Mm-hmm.
Well, he has another response, doesn't mention XRP, but he is glazing another blockchain. Do you want to guess what? We gave it away here. Let's get it right into it. Swift CIO posting like he's reading my timeline. Fishy Catfish. Love that TV show. He's the one who got that viral post about this. This all came from LinkedIn, the almost defunct social media site there for people looking for jobs. Sorry, jobs report came in. It's over for you, LinkedIn. But I received a lot of feedback on X and LinkedIn. Let's just say many in the DeFi community are passionate about, often miss fundamental things about how finance works and what's required to use public blockchains like Ethereum at scale. Let me kind of move forward here. Swift doesn't issue assets, doesn't compete with members, and is structured as a co-op with 11,000 institutions. That's why it's trusted as a neutral orchestrator. Public chains like ETH absolutely have a role by providing programmability, transparency, and settlement innovation are essential. But neutrality in markets only works when you combine open infrastructure with trusted governance. Code alone doesn't settle billion-dollar disputes. That's why the future isn't Swift or Ethereum, it's both. And it's multi-chain. Institutions need to trust scaffolding Swift provides in the innovation open public infrastructure, including blockchain enables. TJ, how does this become multi-chain? What's the glue for Swift and ETH to become multi-chain?
Chainlink.
Chainlink. It is definitely Chainlink. Actually, kind of interested in how Link is doing price-wise because we know Bitcoin's dumping. We're saying, kind of want to open that Chainlink long. We are getting a very, very slight bull div on the 5-minute chart here. So slightly suggesting that Chainlink wants to rip higher and sooner than Bitcoin on the short term. Oh, man. I'm looking at it. Ooh, TJ, once we sweep this, I think it's off to the races for Chainlink. We got to go a little bit lower to sweep this low. People are going to kind of have their positions like, close my long right around here. It's going to sweep all this. I think Chainlink, man, I think I'm going to have to open a long on Chainlink.
Yeah, I like it.
I like it.
We did a video. I see Crypto Crank here in the chat saying, anyone going to make a video talking about how rate cuts can equal bloodbath?
Yeah, not that long ago.
Yeah, not that. I would say maybe a couple months ago. But
I'll tell you what, this weekend, maybe not tonight. We'll probably put it out tomorrow. Tonight, do you recall?
Solana.
Solana tonight. Solana, folks. Solana video tonight. But I will do a video on. We'll probably look at some of these more historical charts, the others Bitcoin, maybe others ETH, and go over, the giant spike for the rate cuts that we just got from the jobs report. Basically, it's all but a certainty. We're going to get rate cuts September 17th. We're very, very close. It's only 12 days away. You do have a chance to, kind of position your altcoin portfolio in a smart way. So maybe we'll have the best alts to buy before the rate cuts.
Yeah.
Chainlink has to be in there.
Definitely. When it comes to rate cuts, they're not a standalone metric, and I think that's one thing that's important to mention. I've got this chart here this kind of echoes what he's talking about. Is everyone's bullish on rate cuts? Big mistake in 2008's cuts didn't save the market. They marked the start of the collapse, and you can see rate cuts here, financialcrisis.com bubble. There's more to consider than just rate cuts. Rate cuts is one thing, but realistically, at the end of the day, when you start looking at like housing prices and interest rates and a lot of these things, like interest rates are not that far away from where they've been on average throughout history. I mean, we've had spikes and we've had, this right here when they were at 0 was, the lowest it's been for, that's abnormal market conditions. The other thing that matters in addition to rate cuts is truly the quantitative easing. Is new money being pumped into the market? Making money, rate cuts makes money cheaper. So it does incentivize people to take on more debt, which in effect is new money creation. But you also have things like the Treasury and the Fed, or they're growing their balance sheet. And so if the Fed switches to actually putting this stuff back on their balance sheet, that's also a much bigger factor into how much they're going to stimulate the economy. Part of this, I do think, could be seeing rate cuts, kind of preceding a collapse like we saw in 2008, like we saw in 2000. The economy isn't that strong. We've seen it with the jobs report and the unemployment and all that sort of stuff. So the market is separating from the reality of the economy, and at some point it will have to come back into reality. We're just going to have to see what the Fed does. If they get into an easing environment, we do have a window where all markets will pump, but that's going to be the last hurrah. And as soon as they back off the gas, there will be a correction because it has to happen.
Yeah, and maybe I could also look at, in this video, in my research, look at rate cuts with the unemployment numbers, kind of superimpose and see if there's any kind of data to be gleaned here. Now, speaking of gleaming data, I get tired of this happening, TJ, all the time. I do all this hard work. I'm preparing this TA sometimes the night before, a lot of times the morning of, 3 hours ago, 2 hours ago. And then by the time I do the show,
Yeah.
I no longer look like I almost look like I'm faking this or something. I identify that, oh yeah, this is definitely, or maybe I saw it on X. I don't want to pretend like I'm the first one who saw this, but notice this range. I was like, oh wow, we definitely hit against this on the 4 hour. And my prediction was like, yeah, we kind of failed to do a higher high, probably going to come back down and retest. This was so far away, when I was looking at this earlier, and now it's just coming down and testing perfectly here. So that might be something to pay attention to. Looking at the ETH chart.
No, if you guys don't really know, what we do is while I'm talking, DZ goes and draws the lines real quick to make it look like he predicted it. No, I'm just kidding. He does, we really do. We do a lot of the show prep, kind of like at least I do a lot of my reading between about 10 and midnight for the news, and then DZ's up early and does a lot of stuff first thing in the morning. And then we kind of get together at 8:30 and 9 to start prepping this stuff. So yeah. We're working hard for you guys out there, but yeah, look, great work. Your TA has actually been very spot on recently, so good job.
I just got to start making some trades on this. Now, we did have that ETH whale wake up out of his slumber here, ICO participant. He got 1 million ETH, woke up after 8 years of dormancy and just moved over $500 million to a new wallet. But he didn't send it to Binance. He sent it to a wallet for staking. And so not a lot of people are talking about this giant whale. What's the numbers? He turned 310K into $4.3 billion. Didn't rage quit in 2018. Didn't sell in 22. And now he's staking instead of cashing out. That's what conviction looks like. I love that. That's a good comment there. Crypto Rodo. Let me see you do the rodeo. 6,000 followers. Go check that guy out. Shout out to Juvenile. I like Juvenile. Now, Tesla. Elon Musk might be paid $1 trillion. I almost did the billion.
Yeah, I was going to say 1 trillion. Yeah.
1 trillion.
It was million back then.
God,
$100 million.
Oh, inflation. Again, shout out to Mike Myers and the Canucks here. Do we have any Canadians in the chat? Hit that like button if you're from Canada. I do like our international viewers. I know some of you, you're seeing the America First coffee mug. That's because I live in America, but we love all the international viewers.
Yeah.
But take a little sip. You can take one with me.
I actually had a great call last week. We just signed a partnership. I signed it right before the show. We're going to roll it out next week with a company and the founder.
I got it. I already know what you're going to go with. Trader Main, right? Yeah. It's in the weave.
Well, I was just going to say, I was bringing it to, he's Canadian. He lives in Vancouver. Had a good chat with him about, the stuff that's going on there.
Syrup and
yeah.
What is going on in Canada?
Oh, just, total horrible policy that's running the country down the drain, kind of like the rest of the world.
Something like hitting Montreal specifically or anything, Toronto?
No, it's hitting, he's Vancouver. So it's hitting, it's definitely hitting, they've had, mass immigration that's, changing their communities. A lot of stuff's complete. Like you think housing's unaffordable here, it's extremely unaffordable there. So, but great, I would say great member of the crypto community for a long time. I think 2017, maybe earlier, but definitely been around as long as I've ever been around on CT. Great trader, great advice. And we're going to start doing some collabs, having him come on and do some TA and kind of some beginner trading tips, maybe with Kelly in the afternoons, I think starting next week. So we're looking forward to it.
Well, I know a company will never go to Canada. That's Tesla, because they will definitely steal his money once they see how much he's about to make. He just proposed a new $1 trillion pay package for Elon Musk. $1 trillion pay package has 12 different levels in which the market cap and operational milestones must be hit. And that would get him to 25% ownership stake. Now, a lot of this is going to be insane. A lot of this is probably going to be hit. I do think they can hit the $2 trillion market cap and the $20 million Tesla vehicles delivered. The bots, we have no idea. 10 million active fully self-driving subscriptions. Maybe if they lower the price, I don't even pay the $100 a month because it drives a little too slow. I like to drive a little bit faster. But if you zoom all the way down to the end, by the time he gets the $1 trillion package, Tesla would be worth twice an NVIDIA at that point, TJ. And so, it wouldn't be all that large. It would be $1 trillion at an $8.5 trillion market cap. So you're looking at roughly, about a 12% ownership, just on that front. And then that's in addition to what he already owns, which would then get him to the 25%. Is this fair? That's what the main question. Should anyone be able to earn $1 trillion? I say yes.
Should they be able to? Yeah, you want to have an uncapped potential, right? You should be able to earn based on what you create, and so the world is driven on incentives, and they're going to incentivize him to make them a lot of money, and if he does it, they're going to happily pay it. So that's generally the way the world works. That's I think it's a Charlie Munger quote. Show me the incentives, I'll tell you the news kind of thing. It's something along those lines. It's kind of like show me the chart, I'll tell you the news. But it was basically show
me the incentives, I'll tell you the outcomes.
Yeah, the outcomes. That's what it is. And that's very true. I mean, people do follow the incentives, and so it's not shocking. It's kind of like it's great for a headline $1 trillion package. It'd be like a lot of these sports athletes get these crazy number type contracts where, but 50% of it is performance. Like you got to go out and win a couple of Super Bowls if you want to get paid that, which probability is very low or very hard or whatever it is.
Set the record for rushing yards and, you get an extra 10 million.
Yeah. So if you're the best of 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 the best in the entire world, we'll make it worth your while. And, that's generally, that's just how the world works. So
I take it a step further. The way I look at it is like, Tesla is like this big ocean liner, right? And Elon is trying to steer this ocean liner. It's not easy to steer an ocean liner. You're not in a little cigarette boat or anything. And if he can steer the boat 1% better on $1 trillion company, that equates to $10 billion. So every 1% he steers it better than the next person, 10 billion. He steers it 10% better. That's 100 billion. And when you start looking at it like, oh, he's just, if he could just maneuver this 1% better than the next guy, that's insane amounts of capital that people don't really think about.
Yeah.
So that's my
very, very, very true.
This is my little metaphor I stole from Naval Ravikant. All right, let's talk a little SWE. We haven't talked about SWE in a while, and SWE's been making some very interesting price action.
We're gonna have
very scared that this is going to be invalidated at this point, but
I'm gonna have a SWE developer that actually coming on the channel, I think next week. So good timing.
All right. Heard a rumor Josh didn't want to help us move. No,
no, he's traveling.
It was his anniversary, right?
Yeah, something like that.
If that was his plan, that's a long con for sure. That's congrats if he pulled that.
He pulled it off.
Yeah.
All right. Now I noticed something. So this is looking at the weekly chart. Come against resistance a few times. It's an ascending triangle. Breaks to the upside majority of the time here. But I zoomed in and I saw something else. Okay, good. Whew. I was like, God, after this price action is going to be invalidated. This is the daily chart. So we're zooming in a little bit and we have a slight falling wedge. It's not exactly a descending wedge or descending triangle. We have the slight down slope here. And the way these works is, you get the maximum from the bottom and the top, give you a potential breakout area. 475, takes us to pretty important levels that we see for SWE here. You kind of see a lot of action. But I'm more interested in this descending triangle. When you look, that's what led to the last breakout. And if you were to measure, did this breakout actually play out?
Oh, wow.
Played out very beautifully. And this is almost like the favorite way that SWE likes to break out are these falling wedges. You can see it, a little bit better on the log charts there. But it's repeating the pattern, kind of leads to the pump basically every single time. I would not be betting against SWE at this point. Maybe we come back down, maybe even wick below this trend line here, the support. I wouldn't be surprised to see SWE on the way to, potentially new all-time highs, but definitely, maybe around this 475, let this TA play out there. So we'll watch this one as well. And then maybe I'll go ahead and put this, see if it plays out. Let's check in on that Bitcoin prediction, TJ. Okay, looks like it broke. That might be, we might have reversed. We might be reversing at this point. The 5-minute is starting to show a little bit of strength here. Look at the 3-minute, definitely getting out of the oversold zone. So that's going to be a good sign. So maybe the Bulls are back in control here, TJ. But I don't know. I still feel like we got another leg down. What do you
Yeah, I
think?
mean, I think we can ping pong in this. Like we're in 110. Like it'll be interesting to see where we close the day. Like above 112, I know is key. If we get back above it, but then we're heading into a weekend. I'd almost rather be at the bottom end of this range. Like I don't know. I don't want to make a gap over the weekend either. So I'm not really that invested in what happens for the rest of the day. If we hold above 108, 110, feels very stable to me. We might go back down and test 107.6 or some of those levels like that. But I wanted to come back to what you're talking about with Sweeper real quick, because I do think like we've seen Bitcoin on a rally, we've seen Ethereum and like base ecosystem rally. I think rate cuts is when we're going to start to see that next mid tier of the Solanas and the Swees and the Avalanche, the Chainlinks, a lot of those that are household names, good products, well known, good VCs behind them, big funds. HBAR's already done pretty well there, but a lot of those type of coins that kind of next tier down from Ethereum, I think we see them pop once we get rate cuts, and that could be
we did get a rate cut in these areas, in the September 24, October 24 area. So very, very good thesis.
Yeah, that could be exactly what sends that thing pumping and the Solana pump. And, that's when I think we're going to start to see activity again in the lower alts. Until then, like we're really just riding out until rate cuts happen at this point.
Activity in our Swee. Now, speaking of phase, have you seen the moon phases? I'm only throwing this out there as a little bit of a lark, but also I've said this for years. Do not fade the moon.
Don't fade the moon, man. It's a full moon. What, 2 days from now or something? Monday, Sunday.
Yeah, I think it's coming to an end here. This is shockingly accurate. So just be careful. Cardano is one of the biggest gainers today, especially in the top 10. It's the biggest gainer. So very dubious, Steve-O, but I wouldn't fade it. Now we're kind of alluding to breakout earlier. I did just want to share this. Kraken is entering proprietary trading. This is like prop trading with the breakout acquisition. Breakout's got a lot of good news. A lot of good people have been using it. And I'll say Crypto Face actually gives it his thumbs up. So I give it my thumbs up. And I think Kelly's doing something with this soon, TJ, right?
Yeah, we're set. We've signed a partnership with him. I actually talked with Crypto Face about it before I moved forward with it. It's one of the best. It is the way that the prop firms in general, especially in the Forex space, have a pretty bad reputation. The way that they do stuff with the booking of the trades and A book, B book type model is completely different. I think that's why Kraken just acquired him. I'm a big fan of Kraken as well. So did this deal last week, and we started working with and I have a lot of respect for Trader Main. So if it realistically one of the main things that kind of drew me to this is Face gave it the okay, and I think Trader Main's one of the good guys in the space. So and Kraken as well. So they just got acquired by Kraken. I think it's a good way. I think for a lot of people, anybody who's looking to learn how to trade and you don't have a lot of capital, this is the best way to learn. If you've got, because you hear me say all the time, DeFi stuff, I'm talking like to the 10 to 50 to 100K at least kind of portfolios. Leverage trading, really realistically, you probably want at least $5,000 in an account to trade. I mean, you can maybe do it with 1,000 to 10,000. We've done it a few times. It's not easy. So if you've only got $50, $100, $500, you can definitely do well with this. And it teaches disciplined trading. It teaches you to, you can't have bigger drawdowns. You can only do 5x. There's a lot of rules that you have to follow. That's kind of the design of prop trading, is you have to follow their rules to get funded, to get your profits. But I think it's a pretty good way for people to learn. So yes, Kelly we're going to be doing this in the afternoons with Kelly. He's going to be doing a lot of the demonstrating of the platform. Obviously, he teaches a lot of new people how to trade, so he'll be well versed in it. We'll maybe do some of it on the morning stream, but I think afternoons will work better. I think I'd like to get 90-10 on the payouts. They've never missed a payout. They have instant payouts. The payouts is usually where it gets hazy with prop firms. And legals. So the fact that Kraken has acquired them gave me the confidence, like, all right, that's going to be buttoned up from a regulatory perspective.
Yeah, Crypto Face was it for me, because he's like the epitome. It can't be bought for his opinion. He's gonna excuse my language. He'll shit on you no matter like who, what, when, where, why. He's not gonna, hold anything back when it comes to his opinion.
There you go. Crank has 2 accounts. Cool. Maybe Crank, that's something you could come on and do with us as well. Once you get that camera, I want to see your face. I want to see that pretty face. I don't
All right.
I don't do well with just charts and voices. For some reason I don't trust it. So.
Now, speaking of not trust, remember I brought up Dogecoin the other day and I said, I don't trust what the hell is going on with Dogecoin. There's a lot of weird stuff going on. It's like some weird whale stuff going on, and not in a bearish sense, more of a bullish sense. Almost as predicted. I didn't say, any names specifically, but look what just happened today. I'm not even going to get into it. I just kind of want to cover Trump Jr. Link Media Company projects $100 million in Dogecoin mining equipment. They're going to buy 3,500 Dogecoin miners, predicting up to $100 million in annual revenue if Doge hits $1. I think this is going to be one of those tokens that just the boomers are going to be very, very bullish on. You're going to see a lot of insane price predictions like the $3.50, $10. All of that is going to come essentially, let me go to the weekly, people using the log chart. When you use the log chart on Doge, oh yeah, man. I mean, it looks like, it's going to gear up for its next move, right? I mean, look, like it moved that much there and, kind of moved like that much there. And why not a $22 Doge? Why not a $3.50 Doge? You're not going to see that. But if you go to the regular charts, I bought more today. And for me, it was just mostly a risk reward situation. I see a lot of interesting things happening in the background. And the way I see it, I believe we're going to stay within this range. I have downside risk. I have a 20% downside risk, but I have 100% upside risk. So I got a 2x and a 0.2% or a 0.2x decline. To me, the risk reward is there. I'm not like Doge to the moon, Doge to $4.20. I'm not one of those guys, but I don't hate it. I don't date it, but Dogecoin, I will trade it.
There you go. All
right. Played out. I would exactly. It is played out. That's why the boomers are going to buy it, because it is played out. The boomers, 55-year-old aunt who, just trying to chase some sort of, thing that she maybe heard from her buddy at the bingo hall. She's not going to be buying the hottest, newest altcoin, meme coin that, FaZe Bank's nephew launched that, only people in the Discord server know. All these boomer wallets are going to be buying things like Doge. I think they'll buy some Shiba Inu. And someone says, will they buy Morpho? I don't know if they'll buy Morpho, but let's see here. Let's check in on the Morpho chart as I try to learn how to type around. I'm trying to type real quietly, TJ. We got this
I got you paranoid now.
Sensitive keyboard here. All right. We'll look at Morpho USD or US dollar on Coinbase. I mean, what's the problem here?
Nothing.
Yeah.
Looks good.
I guess on the daily. Oh, okay. I mean, that just looks like a little healthy little trend test there.
Yeah, I think Arrow and Morpho both. I was looking at the Arrow chart yesterday too. I'm like, man, this thing looks good. So they're both just stair stepping up, very much like that. So I almost got feisty yesterday and dumped a lot into Morpho. So that's one I'm looking to load. That's one that I think I could get high ROI, in a short term trade. You pile a lot out of Bitcoin into that right now. Maybe roll it, wait for rate cuts, roll it back into Bitcoin late September. To me, that's probably an easy way to make more Bitcoin.
They will buy Fartcoin too. I think so.
Maybe.
I don't know. I think the older dudes who the guys that like Dumb and Dumber as their favorite movie when they're like a teenager.
Yeah, it just depends on how easy. Like if you can get it on Coinbase, maybe.
That's it. You're right.
Which I think they can, but yeah, I think your thesis on Doge was right. People it's fun. They want to be fun. They want to have some exposure to, silliness, I think. And so most people I know have at least a little bit of something in a meme coin. There's very rare to find somebody that has none, but I don't know. It's just, it doesn't do much for me. I mean, there's definitely ways to make money on it, but I feel like it's high risk. There's a lot easier ways to make, or a lot more lower risk ways that still have high upside to make money in crypto, in my opinion. Again, these pick strong projects out of the top 20 right now. It feels like a slam dunk in a 3-month time horizon. Like if you can double your money in 3 months with the top 20, why are you messing with meme coins?
What's my plan on selling that top of that range? The top of that range, I kind of lose. It's all over the place. People getting those chats in. Smash that like button on the way out. Thank you for joining us on this Friday episode. It's going to be a great weekend. Solana video tonight. Very, very interesting things happening with Solana. We got a lot of bullishness coming Solana's way. And I got a prediction. A lot of altcoin gains are going to be rolling into Solana. I even mentioned Solana DeFi slightly there. So go check that out. Make sure you have on those notifications. Smash that like button. Hit the like on the X. What do you got?
No, leave a comment after the show wraps. Leave a comment on the video. Let me know which altcoin you think is going to benefit the most when we get those rate cuts. Is it Morpho? Do you have your bet on Solana or Sui or Avalanche? I want to know kind of what you guys are betting on to see a nice pop mid to late September. See you guys at the top. We just wanted to take a quick second to shout out our sponsor, Arculus. They are a cold storage hardware wallet, helps you secure all of your digital assets for the future. Just tap this thing to the back of your phone and boom, you're in. We wouldn't be able to do this without them, but also wouldn't be able to do this without you guys, the Disco fam. You've supported us a lot over the years. If you want to support the channel now, just use the code DC20. It gets you 20% off this card. It's the #1 way you can support this channel going forward. Thank you for your support. We'll see you at the top.